Hi, I'm Jennifer Bardot, and I am your host today. And we're going to be talking about GRIT. And what does GRIT stand for? Growth, Resilience, Intention, and Tenacity, which leads me to introducing Shalia Ford. She's a contributing author in Intention. I'm excited to have you here today, Shalia. So tell me about who is Shalia?
Thank you, Jennifer. Before I even tell you about myself, I just want to say thank you for creating space, not only for me and the other authors, but for other women to just hear inspiring stories and share their inspiring stories. So thank you. So who am I? I think I have many roles and I'm multifaceted. And so I'll share that I am a wife of almost 20 years. I am a mother to a 10-year-old son. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm an auntie. In the slang sense of the word and really naturally, I have nieces and nephews. I'm a friend. I'm a colleague. I'm a mentor. I'm a leader. But I think the most important way that I would describe who I am is describing whose I am. So I'm a child of God. I'm a woman of faith. And my faith has been the most transformative thing that has happened to me, for me, with me. And the fact that there is a God who loves me, regardless of who I am and what I've been through, that's part of who I am. So I'm glad to be here and to share with you today about the chapter I wrote in Intention.
Well, I love all of that, and I love who you are, and I listen. You put me on my toes, and you automatically just gave me praise, and that's how you always lead. You're such a servant leader, and I'm grateful to call you a friend. But a title that I know of you, which I am grateful to call you, is a champion of women. You are a true champion of women. So tell us about that work. How do you champion the women in our St. Louis community here today?
Absolutely. So I think I've done it in many ways, and I continue to think about other ways to continue to be a champion, be an advocate, be a mentor, be a guide. Some of that happens in my professional career and the work that I do with an organization called Focus St. Louis, and I get to run our women's program. And what is so exciting about that is that I get to meet women who are professional women, who are, at different stages of maybe their life in terms of their age or their experiences. But I really get to help them take a moment to stop and reflect so that they can understand who is the greatness of who they are, right? And not describe themselves by a title that is rented. And that's not something that I came up with. I was listening to a conversation the other day, and one of the speakers said that. And it's just important for us to uplift each other, to encourage, and sometimes give each other permission to stop and also give each other grace. Before I came to Focus St. Louis and all of the things that I've done, whether it's been professionally or in community as a leader or volunteer, is about uplifting women and girls. And so you can't take that out of my DNA. It is in there. It is built in. And I believe that if I can share a story or an encouraging word with someone, then they can in turn share that with someone else. And when your life has been impacted or has been changed as a result of choices that you make, you can share that with others, and the effect of that can ripple out and be so encouraging. So I'm a champion because women championed me in the times when I needed them most. And so it is my obligation, but it is also my joy to give back to other women and stand in the gap and or help them get to where they want to be.
I witnessed you in action, watched you in front of the Women in Leadership program through Focus St. Louis, and I'm always just in awe of how you're able to capture everybody and help them identify themselves, but also within a collaborative community where they feel supportive, which is all part of an aspect of how we grow is through support.
Absolutely.
And you create that space. And not only do you do it in that setting, but I've seen you in outside settings, pulling others in to help support the youth and the younger generations. So thank you for all the hard work that you put in this community, and thank you for having a passion to champion women, because it's definitely needed and it's appreciated.
Thank you.
So that leads me to asking you a little bit more about your personal story and Intention. What is the title? What does the story look like?
Oh my goodness. This is a story a long time coming in the sense of me penning it. I've shared it in many different ways with different audiences when I felt it was appropriate. But the title of the chapter is called I Choose Me. And I share a little bit about my personal testimony in having to choose me when I was in an abusive child situation and really needing to leave behind everything so that I could have a good life and so that I could heal from what I had experienced. And so for me, the chapter is a way of a different level of healing because so many years have passed. But I know that through writing the chapter, I believe it's going to be inspiring or help others see that no matter what you've been through, it doesn't have to limit you, right? Mm-hmm. So I might not be responsible for what happened to me. It was not my fault. Mm-hmm. But I am responsible for how I heal and how I choose each day myself and the things that I value, the people that I love, the work that I do. I get to choose that. And so I think often when we've been in trauma experiences, we think we don't have a choice. And the reality is the day that I chose to leave that situation and share my secret was the beginning of a new life for myself that I didn't even know that I could have. Mm-hmm. And so for me, sharing a little piece of it, I don't go into a lot of detail. I don't use names because it's not about anybody else. Mm-hmm. It is about a decision that I made to become something different and to envision a life that was healed and hopeful and fulfilling. And I think my story can help others realize that no matter what's happened or where you've come through or from or what life has thrown at you, the moment that you choose yourself and then make decisions that follow that, life can be different.
Yes. And I love how you reiterate the fact that we have choices. You're never hopeless. Things might have happened to you, but there's always choices for you to direct your life in a different direction. And that is definitely the blueprint that you've illustrated for others to utilize your story if they have something that they're struggling with.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So trauma is hard too. And I feel like every time we share our story, more of us heals. So going through that intensive reflecting process, and I know this was something that happened in your childhood, what was that like, kind of digging it all up again and rehashing all those feelings and emotions?
It was very therapeutic and very healing. It was also very scary to think that while I've shared my story with audiences and I've talked about it, now that it's in black and white, we can't pull anything back and we can't answer for anything if there's something that someone reads, right? Mm-hmm. So I was even intentional about how much I shared, the pieces of how I got to where I am right now. And there was some things that came up, and thinking about all of our stories impact others, but they also impact ourselves. And I choose to live with no regret. Mm-hmm. I choose to say what was meant for my evil or my harm, God turned it around and used it for my good. And I try to take the lessons that I've learned. So the reflective process was hard sometimes, but it also brought me great joy. Like, look how far I've been able to come. Yeah. Look where God has brought me. Look at the opportunity to mentor others, to champion them, to very confidently and courageously set my foot down and say, women and girls are the audience that I want to serve. I want to help them understand their worth and their purpose. And unfortunately, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, that sometimes the growth doesn't happen necessarily through all of our triumphant phases of life. The real growth happens through maybe trial or tragedy. And so it is through my trauma that I have arrived to where I am. And I don't think I've totally arrived. I have work to do, but I've taken the time to do the work. And I've surrounded myself in a community of individuals, and a lot of them women, who we can uplift and support each other. So I have good days and bad days, but that comes with life. But taking a moment to reflect and stop. Why am I here? Or what is triggering me now? Or how do I want to address or navigate through what I'm experiencing? Looking back only allowed me to decide how I want to look forward and the things that I want to do to continue to share messages of hope, to create material or content that others can read or have access to or experience in community, so that their growth and their contributions can be made. So
that's beautiful. So I can just hear how intentional the next years are going to be, from being re-inspired and being able to identify all of your strength and owning your journey and being empowered to help others along the next, as you continue to evolve. As you said, you haven't currently arrived. We're constantly evolving and growing, but you're building out the future of what's driving you and who you want to serve and what your mission and vision is. So it's beautiful.
absolutely.
So what is some words of wisdom that you live by, or favorite quotes that you really kind of hold on tight to?
There's so many. How can I narrow it down to one? I am the person that is always putting out positive quotes or reading things, or, the mantra that I've been sharing, and the women who I work with through my professional setting know this, but also others where I've done work in the community, is this mantra of "it's my time." And being able to share that as a rallying call for us to know that it's our time to invest in us. It's our time to let go of the things or the people or the places or the habits that no longer serve us. It's our time to invest in the possibilities and embracing something new so that we can grow, as well as just embracing that we can thrive in this life. So much of my younger years and formative years, because of the abuse, was surviving. So I learned how to survive by, what does that person want, and pleasing other people and being over responsible at home or wherever, or, getting involved with so many things that I would be kept so busy so that I didn't have to think about the reality of my life. And so when you're in survival mode, you kind of do a lot of different things, and that works to get you through. But now that you've come past the hurt and the pain and you're healed, how do you thrive? And it's okay to thrive. I think sometimes people don't even give themselves permission to enjoy life or to feel fulfilled. So my mantra is about "it's my time," and understanding that in life we live through seasons, and there's seasons of joy, there's seasons of change, there's season of pruning back, there's seasons of extraordinary growth, and I'm embracing all of that. And so I'll share this with you with that mantra that I've shared with others. This past year, I was saying it back to myself. And I created places, affirmations, or put it on my phone or hung it up in places, because I thought, I've given this to others. And one of my mentors shared it and gave it to me. I'm giving it to others, but I have to remember it's my time too. And so this opportunity to write in the intention book is a manifestation of my choice to say that it's my time in this season for me to share even more, and to think about ways to create community that's brave in space, think about ways to bring women and girls together, so that they can be their authentic selves, and that they can cultivate the confidence that they need to live the life that they've maybe envisioned for themselves, but they're too afraid to actually go after it. So I'm excited about what the future holds. And in my mind, this work is ministry work. And some of it's related to my professional career, but often it's what I do in community. It's how I serve. And what's really great for me is that I've been able to take what has happened and use it in a way that pulls forth my passion, pulls forth my values, and it intersects and allows me to like sit in my sweet spot daily and operate from that place. And that is exhilarating to me.
Right, because you're truly living out your passion and your purpose. And I love all of the fact that you're not only pouring yourself, but you have such clarity on what's next for you and how you're going to continue to be that champion for women and girls. And as you put it, be in your sweet spot, because that's what you're amazing at and great at, to pull it out and allow them to see all that of who they could become. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your soul, and for just truly being an advocate for women in our community and young girls. So I was thrilled to have you as a contributing author in Intention, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having me.